G'day, Chris. How you going?
Video.
There you go.
There we go. Got to press the thing. So, how are you on the other side of the world?
Tired.
Oh
But
yeah.
that's what
Well,
happens. That's what happens when you do 5 weeks of 12-hour days in a row.
yeah, I can imagine. If you're not blowing up things.
Yeah,
So
well,
you're yeah. Well, at least it's not at least you're not Oppenheimer. It's not a nuclear weapon.
no, there's still some dickheads flying around though.
Yeah, well, true. Very true. Yeah, I had the opportunity to view the video yesterday, and I think my head hurt. Needed a bottle of vodka and a bottle of Advil to listening to all of these different things. And yeah, you can record that for the record. It's not a problem.
That's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
no,
me, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. After you.
No, I guess I'm somewhat ruined by the fact that I went through a doctoral dissertation process, and those processes tend to narrow you down in terms of when I wrote my dissertation, it was in organizational leadership. And I remember I was going to write about, I'm a practicing Catholic, and I was going to write about the role, how celibacy in the priesthood, inspires, leadership and stuff like that. I remember speaking to one of the assistant deans of the school, who happened to be a priest himself, and he was looking at me across his desk and he went, and that's a bad thing when people start doing that, when they start laughing at you from across the table. And he said, he goes, "Are you a priest?" Looking at myself, I don't have the Roman collar on. I said, "Well, Father, obviously not." And he goes, "Well, then what do you know about celibacy?" "Nothing. I've been married for that many years." He goes, "It's better for you to stick with what you know and don't go outside your lane." So he says, "What is it that you do?" He says, "Well, I'm a federal agent." Bingo.
Mm.
Stick to that in terms of, what it is, what you've got going on. So as I was developing this list, let me see if I got the notes. I do. Um,
You're welcome to share the screen and we
yeah,
can
hold on one
go
second.
through
If
them.
I can share. Yeah, where am I? Share screen.
Yep.
And now I got to figure out which desktop I have. Oh, so it's going to be desktop 3. Uh, oh, allows open system preferences. Where is my system preference? Oh, Zoom screen recording. Okay. Uh, Later. Okay. So Zoom. Okay, let's see now. We got that. So share screen. Okay. Uh, 3. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Says, well, we already know that it's recording. Okay. So anyway, uh, wrong one. Can you see it?
Yeah, I
Which
can
one
see
can you
it.
see? The
Niches
the, the
are,
Word document?
yep, the document, it says niches are
The Word
work,
document.
international stock exchange, settlement, custom
Okay.
firearms.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So screen sharing. I don't know why I'm on this particular. All right. So anyway, yeah. So I was thinking about some of those things. I was thinking about, you know, well, let's start with the custom firearms. I was a federal agent for that many years. Um, I international. Well, I dealt with, um, the firearms. I mean, we dealt with high end firearms for, for actually Olympic shooters. Olympic level shooters, and and that's a very, very fine niche. Um, Domestically, maybe you see, at the time I was up there, I was up in New York, and New York had very, very big restrictions on firearms, and still does. Florida is a little more liberal, for lack of a better term. I mean, everybody carries a firearm on. Sorry to say, knowing you're from Australia. But you know, it again, you got to have a niche where it's not oversaturated and people are willing to buy from you.
That's
I
why it's a
just
niche. That's why it's a niche,
right,
not an industry.
correct. If people get to the niche before you, and I started looking up some of this stuff, and yeah, there's quite a few custom firearms dealers, firearm people who deal with trap shooting, skeet shooting, target, pistol, target 22 caliber and stuff like that. I was like, well, I don't know what these people's clientels are like. I don't know if they have the customer base of everybody that they need, to basically give them money. So I was
How do you
looking
know
at
that?
that. Say again.
How would you know that
Well,
if you don't
I'd
if you
have to
don't ask
call them.
questions?
I'd have to call them whether or not they'd be willing to share that information with me.
Yeah, that's
I
exactly
don't
right.
know. I don't know.
It's
You
the same with
remember, I mean,
everything.
yeah, I mean, right. And I mean, will businesses give you that information? Likely not. They want to protect their client base. I mean, what are you going to do? Poach stuff away? I don't know. Um, I, looked at work that I had done. I had done Dr. Dre. Now, actually, what I did try doing, and I actually appeared on a podcast for this. I actually tested the market at one point to basically do discernment for people doing doctoral work. I
What,
tested the
sorry, what
market.
sort of work?
Doctoral dissertation, basically starting going into a doctoral program. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send you the link of the podcast that I did later with another PhD. I hold a Doctor of Education, slightly different degree, but I actually tested some of what you were saying, and I went out there and I actually did it on LinkedIn. I did it on Facebook, called people. I mean, same exercises that we're doing here. I learned a very hard lesson. A hard lesson is that everybody wants those initials after their name, and they don't care how much they spend for it, even if they end up losing the money. And I was like, really? And it's just amazing how clouded people's judgments get when they want those initials, PhD, EDD, Doctor of Business, after their names. It's like my degree, US dollars, costs almost 60,000 US dollars. There are some PhDs that are in the 150, 200,000. If you go to a place like Harvard, Princeton, MIT, yeah.
Yeah.
And not every job requires a degree. I mean, if you're a physicist, if you're a biological reader, yeah, you need the PhD. You got to
The
have that.
paleontologist?
Yeah, paleontologist, whatever it is, the hard sciences and stuff like geology and stuff, you need that. But if you're, let's say, how do you say it? A teacher. Do you need a doctorate of education to teach? Neil Armstrong, the man who walked on the moon, I said this in my thing. He didn't even have a master's degree when he walked on the moon. Do you know that he went to teach engineering at the University of Cincinnati? Do you know they actually gave him grief over that?
Yeah, that wouldn't
He
surprise
actually had
me.
to go get a master's degree to teach. They wouldn't take him. The man who walked on the moon, they wouldn't take him at the University of Cincinnati for engineering. I was just
Yeah,
like mind boggling. Yeah, it was mind boggling. So I did that, and I went and I saw very, very quickly that people were not willing to pay for that. They weren't willing to pay for that. I've tried my hand with private investigations, especially criminal and so, like, specifically, not cheating spouses, not insurance fraud, okay, specifically criminal and civil litigation. I've been in the business for 2 years. I'm shutting it down. Disaster, absolute financial disaster. I spent 20, 30,000 US dollars standing up the business, I maybe made 3,000, maybe. Investment, return on investment, and a lot of work, by the way. It's a lot of work. I mean, being I don't know if do you have private investigators for you in Australia?
Um, don't know. Maybe I don't
I
really
mean, like
know.
I'm saying, they're not police, but they're licensed and they basically work on like the other side. So if you're a criminal, you're going to get somebody like me to basically either gather evidence favorable to my defense or, dig up dirt on witnesses or things of that nature.
I'm pretty sure
That
they
might or
do,
might not
but
exist there. It exists here in America. So I tried doing that specifically. Well, here's the thing. I called around. I must have called it 20 attorneys, people who I knew from my time as a special agent with Homeland Security here in the United States. I even took a few of them to lunch. You know how many? You know how many took me on
no.
as like in-house? Zero, zero. I was like, how can there not be a market, for this? But here again, here's the issue: the niche is oversaturated. A lot of these people have their own, and they've had them for years, and they don't want to hire anybody else because they don't want to pay them or they don't want to split the money that they're giving to their first private investigator. So I looked at that. I also I actually did a little swing trading at one point. I don't know if you know what swing day trading is, So I
I think
actually did that and
isn't
I was
it
looking.
just trading during the specific open hours and you just go for the
Correct, correct. Either
micro
within a day.
transactions?
Yes, either within a day. Swing trading could be a few days up to a week or something like that. Short, like slightly longer period, but the same thing. And I was specifically focusing on Bitcoin because I love digital currencies as a wave of the future.
Mhm.
But unless you can really time the market and stuff like that, and I was thinking about you don't want to start giving advice to people that hasn't worked for you. And I mean, I read literally half a dozen books on say digital currency and stuff like that. If it didn't work for me, how's it going to work for anybody else? I'm not qualified to give that advice. So I'm just saying I've tried to dabble in some things, but I do know something from my own experience. I hate to say, again, going back to my doctoral research, the three things that are a disaster for people, particularly in law enforcement and particularly federal law enforcement, are physical issues, psychosocial issues, and financial issues. People do this work for 25 years here, and one morning wake up and they don't have that badge anymore. They don't have the authority that they did. They're not making even half the money that they did. I mean, a year, US dollars. I was making 150,000 US dollars a year. I'm now making half of that. I'm depending on my investments for the rest. So if you bungle that, you have a problem because I still pay a mortgage on this house. I still have a mortgage. I have a car payment. I still have other bills. So I have people who not only regret retirement financially, because they wish they had stayed like maybe with another position with the government a little longer. Psychosocially, they're isolated. It's like you come home the first Monday morning after I retired. I sat in this office. It's like, where am I going today? What am I doing? I don't have anything to do. I have nowhere where I need to be. I'm going to shut this, if you don't mind, I'm going to shut this off because I think I gave you the kind of the theme. But I do talk. I do talk to a lot of my colleagues. I go out to lunch every so often and whatnot. And they tell me, it's like I don't know what to do with myself. You know, um, or the other thing that they tell me is how many doctors they go and see because they neglected their health that many years before retirement. I mean, I didn't see a doctor for 5 years before I retired. The day I retired, this is a true story. I collapsed in my house from kidney failure. I'm
Wow.
almost not talking to you today. I was in the ICU for 72 hours. All that year, all that time, 32 years, including my criminal life, to make it to the day of my retirement, and I came within that much of dying.
Mm.
Why? Because cops think they're tough. They think they're gonna, they're untouchable, invincible.
Yeah.
So my thought was, I could speak from my own experience, and I don't think a lot of federal law enforcement officers realize that there's not just a fight. Like a lot of cops focus on the money. As long as I have a million US dollars in a retirement account and I get my pension and I have a house, a vacation house, somewhere else in it, that's great. But it's almost like the millionaire who sits there by himself all day with his cats, and pets his cats all day. I mean, what human contact you have, who are your friends and stuff like that. So, I've been working with Jeff, you know, and we've kind of narrowed this down to this. Um, I almost didn't meet with you today, but I wanted because I figured if I've accomplished the task, why would I waste your time? I know it's late over there, but I'm interested in hearing what you have to say, and I'm not so closed-minded. But again, Caleb's thing is what's going to make you the most amount of money with the least amount of effort in the quickest period of time. That I've learned from Caleb. I've learned that, and that's what I need because honestly, I yeah, I make a pension, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be or need to be. So your
Yeah, yeah.
thoughts?
I understand where you're coming from. Like I've been shot firing, blowing stuff up for nearly quarter of a century myself. I started when I was
Wow,
19. I have no other main certifications. I'm not a doctorate. I don't have university education, but I'm still
overrated,
making,
overrated.
I'm still earning close to 90,000 US dollars. I'm at my peak, I was earning about 110,000 US dollars. You know,
All right.
now I know where I want to be. I want to be free. I want to have the freedom of choice. I want the freedom of movement. That's where I want to be. Now, I understand it's hard to get out of your own lane,
Yeah,
but what you don't know, you don't know. I know you're a man of education and that you understand that completely.
right.
The whole point of niche finding is to open the mind, to find out what else is out there. As I said, I've already looking into my second niche, and that's for my practitioners, my practitioners. What's a my practitioner? Someone who actually maintains
I'm sorry.
people's
What kind of practitioner? I'm sorry.
myo, MYO,
Which I'm sorry, I'm not
PRACT.
familiar with that.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't. I go see one every time I go home. All they do is do how you got chiropractors that work on you when
Right,
you,
right, right. Yeah,
yeah, when you actually have an injury or something you need fixed. My
right.
practitioners use acupressure and tendon manipulation
Okay,
to service your body.
right. Okay.
It's not a cure, they keep it serviced. The first time I did it, I gained 2 inches in height.
Wow.
I was that tight and it was
Wow.
relaxing. That was over, holy shit, over 20 years ago now
Wow.
that I did that. Now, I keep in touch with my myoprac. He's fine. I've asked him questions. He, as a solo trader, is fine. but some of the stuff he's given me has given me ideas. But if I, in hindsight, if I knew now, if I knew what I know now when I started this program, I would
Right.
not be going through blasting. I can 100% guarantee you on that. I would not be doing the business that I'm doing right now. I would be leaving it for my second or third business because I've made it complex, very complex. My niche is drill and blast designers in hard rock minerals. It was originally in hard rock lithium, but after some research and some information from a friend of mine, there are only 30 hard rock lithium mine sites in the world. Only 30. Now, the service I was going to provide is a website library that an AI generated scrapes information for drill and blast designs for, in this case, lithium. And it was going to be a membership site, $200 a month. Now, if each of those, every one of those sites bought 2 logins, I would make $12,000 a month,
Wow.
which is not quite, which is only a little bit more of what I'm earning per month, you know,
Right.
time for money. It's not enough. So I spoke to the coaches and they agreed to let me go up one step in my niche and go to hard rock minerals. So now I can go to gold, I can go to lithium, copper, molybdenum, you know, multiple commodities. But because the website is going to have AI scraping, AI collection, AI generation, it's going to be a costly move. But I've and I still to this day still talk to guys and girls in my industry, and I always double check that I'm always confirming if this is still a problem in my niche. And they said, yes, AI is going to take over. We just don't know when. And I said, great. I want to be at the forefront. But if I knew then what I know now, I'd take something simple like marketing for marketing for the Myoprax, or marketing for something else, you know, just using what you learn in this course to help you market anything. And that's the thing. That's the thing with this course. Like, it's great that you want to help people like yourself. That's a great and we could say noble cause. But passion projects like mine, are better off as a second business or a third business once you have the money behind you.
Okay.
And
Fair enough.
that's why, like, I had a call with Chad last night, and we went through his list. And you know what? Before I spoke to him, had no inclination of doing anything with log cabins. All right. After last night, I want to go to an Airbnb with a log cabin in Canada and have a wood-fired hot tub in there, you know, because he managed to get like all different hot tubs, all different, like he's right into his wood furniture. I said, okay, cool, log furniture. How 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 do we niche that, or I don't know. I said, okay, cool. What about the type of wood? So there was pine, there was fir. I said, how about some hardwoods? He said, oh yeah, maple's pretty big out here. Maple furniture. Maple furniture using nailless methods, you know. And then we went on to the wood cabins. I said, okay, so you want to go, you talk to real estate agents, you know, what sort of cabins, what sort. Bring up your list again. We can. I find it easy having a visual cue.
All right, hold on one second. Let me just
Yeah.
share screen. Uh, stop screen. Share. Okay.
Okay.
So
So we'll go up to the top. We'll just go
back to
through
the
the pro.
top.
Yes, please. We'll go through the process that I usually go. Okay.
Okay.
International Stock Exchange settlement. Okay. Are you
Right.
look what sort of stocks?
Sorry.
What sort of stocks are you looking at to settle?
When I did many years ago, I
Let, let, let,
specifically worked on.
let's let's have a look. So what you're specifically looking at, sorry. Sorry, I'm getting to teacher mode.
Sorry. Well, these are two niches I have. And when I dealt with international stock exchange settlement, I dealt specifically with the Canadian stock
Okay.
specifically.
Okay.
So
So you're dealing with the Canadian Stock Exchange
right,
for what stocks? Are they blue chip?
it was all stock. It was all stocks.
Well, that's
It
where
was
we start
yeah.
narrowing down.
Okay.
So so you have a look. What style of stocks? Do you want to go blue chip? Do you want to go, oh, what's that real risky one? Something else. Did you want to go into a particular industry? So you go Canadian Stock Exchange for, I don't know, lithium mines, lithium companies.
I'm just writing down some things
Yes,
as you come
go
along.
for it. 100% agree. Always write it down. Particular industry, yeah. So for example, you go into mining. Okay, you're going into mining.
Uh,
What sort of
well, actually,
commodity? What sort of
well,
commodity do you want to go
rare
through?
earths, and I had exposure to rare earths. I visited Rwanda a couple of times, and I was amazed at how much the industry was making in terms of
Oh,
of that.
mining, man.
It was
It's
incredible.
a
It
big
was
killer.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So say rare earth mining
Yeah, rare earth. Yep, that's one way.
or sales.
Uh, sales. What sales of stock? That's
No,
a
sales.
sorry.
Rare earth mining. Well, yes, rare earth mining stocks, company stocks,
Yep. Okay, so we go earth mining company stocks. Yep. Another
and a
example
particular
is okay.
particular
Now,
region.
yeah, particular region. Yep. So you want location. You want to go down to something small. Yeah, in East Africa. Okay, so you're now looking at East African companies that are in X amount of stock exchange. All right. Okay. Now you can go for any commodity like that. You know, it may not be rare earth. It could be diamonds. It could be iron ore.
Mhm.
You know, it could be a
Right.
particular style of iron ore. You could have either magnetite or you could have, what's that other one?
Excuse me.
Anyway, there's a couple of other different varieties, and you can follow that down. That's quite the rabbit hole if you want to go down commodities,
Okay.
you know. So you're still in the general international stock exchange settlement, but you can do maybe not rare earth. Maybe you want to do technology. What sort of technology do you want to go into? Do you want to go into AI development for X? You know,
Okay.
like this is such international stock exchange is so huge and there's so much potential for niching that you can't just say, oh, I did international stock exchange. Great. What did you focus on? My shot firer, the man who taught me my skills, who's on site with me, he does He's a excavator operator now. He dabbles. He's got a whole load of blue chips. He's got speculatives. He's got a whole load of speculatives as well. Now he said, "Oh yeah, I don't have to work here." I said, "Well, then why are you still working?" "Oh yeah, I just go to." It's like, yeah, cool, no drama. Say I love you, but that's where this business builder is such a great blueprint. I don't care. I'm outcome independent whether I keep my job or not anymore. Because I know that if shit hits the fan, I'll just hold off on my current business, whip something out, do some research, and get in 3 months, get into a business that's going to be paying my bills. That's where the whole goal of this program is.
Right.
And
Plan B and plan C, I guess.
no, there's only just one
No?
plan A. There's always a plan A. If it doesn't work, get a different plan A.
In
Don't,
other words, just get out of one and go to the other.
yeah, if you have to, yes.
Okay. Okay.
And that's the thing. Like, okay, you've got an idea about the stock exchange now, even if you change the color a bit, because it all looks very similar at the moment.
Yes. Okay.
So custom firearms. From just what we've just spoken about in the way of the stock exchange, what are some of the ways we can narrow that custom firearms down? You'd have a
Okay.
way better knowledge base than I would. I've done a little bit of hunting, but I've only used like 22 caliber rifles. And roos are hard to take down with with target ammo.
Well, custom fire can be one of two. I mean, if you're looking at competition firearms,
Well, there you
um,
go. That's one part. That's one way you can go down one path and go competition. Now,
or it's hunting is the other one.
yeah. Well, there's there's a couple of branching paths already. Now, um, I we don't have semi-automatics and automatics allowed in Australia
Okay.
after 1998's shooting in Tasmania. I think
Yeah.
it was
I
98. Yep,
yes.
the Port Arthur massacre they call it.
Yes.
And
Yep.
so like, but let's face it, we still got plenty of guns. You know, I know
Right.
I had a friend who had about 4 different guns, but the licensing in Australia is incredibly tight. You need to
Hmm.
prove that you can store the weapons safely before you even get one. And you have to prove that you're storing the ammunition and firing mechanisms in separate areas as well.
Okay.
So that's where the whole difference is. Now, it, even if it's competition guns and hunting guns, they're both under the same banner. They both need to make sure all
Yeah.
your gun safes are separated. But okay, so we go. So competition hunting, then you can go to
Let's
things.
say we go to competition because I mean I'm more familiar with competition than I am with
Hmm.
hunting.
But
Then
yeah, we're just having examples of branching
right.
ways we can go. This isn't what we're deciding on. These are opening up the paths so you can go competition/hunting still.
Okay.
You know, this is just to get the old brain matter working. So
Right.
then you can go, okay, competition. Now you can go into things like, do you want to do revolver style pistols? Do you want to use uh, more uh, more technologically advanced pistols? Do you want to use rifles? Do you want to use shotguns? There's a variety of different guns that you can use for both styles.
Right.
Let's go. Let's burrow down into that a bit more.
So let's say long arms.
Yeah, they're like rifles, correct?
Yeah, long rifle shotguns. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Okay. So long
for long arms,
arms
and then
or short arms or whatever. Yep. And then you can just follow that down. And then you can even go down to a particular caliber, because they'll have different calibers for different competitions, wouldn't they?
Normally, I forgot what is it? Is it 20 gauge or 12 gauge for skeet shooting? Um, I forgot which gauge. I think it's 12. And normally their skeet shooting is double, it's a double barrel. So
Mm-hmm.
you load both of your rounds in, and then you have two triggers actually. So
Yep.
when the thing goes and they call pull, it's 1, 2 at a time. And then you unload and then you put in
Yeah.
your next
So
thing. You're
there
not
you go.
allowed to use
That's just
you're not
another.
allowed to use automatic or semi-automatic when you do
Yeah.
competition. Olympic level is double load and up.
Yeah, but
Um,
you've also got rifle firing as well, where you can have what,
oh
up to four
yeah, you
shots.
do.
But that's I'm just trying to say that they're the different routes you can take. That's narrowing down the niche.
Oh, I mean, I would say, I mean, if you talk about competition, the big ones, well, can either go police, but police really don't do skeet shooting that much.
The
Really,
question is,
Olympic level.
we're not looking for the ones that are popular. We're looking for the niche.
I would say Olympic.
What's the more unusual? The more
Um,
ones, but Olympians are not professionals, are they? They don't get paid.
that is true. Right.
So, so in that case,
Well, they don't
you
get paid. They don't
but
get
they do
paid,
have
but they have to do
sponsorships.
and train and they usually have day jobs. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody becomes an Olympian, and
Oh,
basically counts on that. I mean,
no.
you have your police officer, your whatever.
Yeah, exactly right. So if you go, okay, Olympians, but you'll have to pivot a little bit to go sponsorships, you know? That it's always suggested in the business group here that B2B, business to business, is easier to get to the bigger money than B2C. Caleb's done very well B2C, but he's always primarily done B2B. Auntie Billy, she loves B2B. It's just for companies are more willing to part with money than individuals. That's where it all comes
Sure.
down to,
Right.
So yeah, so for the Olympians, you'll have to focus on the sponsorship side of things, because
Right.
you can't ask them to, do whatever. Look, we're just looking at niches at the moment. We're not looking at services and such like. But
Right.
you can see where the thought process is going. Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. I'm getting. Yeah, I'm getting it.
Yep. Cool.
Um.
Now, for the next one, niches within, what's that? Federal LE? Is that
Well, yeah.
legislation?
Federal law enforcement. I mean, I worked
Oh, law
actually
enforcement.
the last job I worked was asset forfeiture. I don't know if you have a similar concept in Australia. Basically, when criminals launder money, when they sell drugs, when they traffic, whatever, um, we take their property and we sell it for deposit in the U.S. Treasury. Um, Actually, there are some niches in that.
Yeah.
For example, there are asset forfeiture that deal only with commercial real estate, selling businesses to other in the U.S. It's what's called, okay. If I just give you a quick thing, there's something called an interlocutory sale. When you have a business that's successful, let's say you have a McDonald's,
Yeah.
let's say, what you don't want to do is you don't want to take that McDonald's. Well, let me give you a better. Let's say you have a big steakhouse, very, very popular. Rich people go to it. What you don't want to do is put a big seized sign on the door, and then the customers are like, "No, man, we're not gonna. You ruin the business. You ruin the business." So what you want to do instead is you want to get a private, somebody private to come in, pay for the business discreetly, and take it over. This way, there's no interruption in the continuity of operations.
Yeah.
So I've seen asset forfeiture people kind of negotiate those kinds from the other side, like business brokers who deal specifically in business asset forfeiture.
Yeah. And then from there, you can go down from using your example. You could say, for example, the steakhouse. You can focus on, say, steakhouses in, say, Texas. Let's face it, Texas love their steak.
So
Aussies
that's a
love their
focus.
steak. You can see you're getting to where you're expanding your thought processes while narrowing down certain things. Like, yeah,
And I'm sorry, I'm just writing down what I just told you because it's actually not a bad idea.
yeah, exactly right.
Need to look towards high value properties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now you can go even further into that, make it go, yeah, high value properties in what industry?
Restaurants, let's say.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Restaurants. Restaurants are very hard businesses to set up and work around.
Yeah.
I've even I've
Because
got
remember, if you slap a seizure notice on a
mm,
restaurant, the
yeah.
value of the real property goes down
Oh yeah,
tremendously.
that'd make
But
sense.
if you sell the business,
Mm,
you're going to probably get your full price. If it's a steakhouse that's generating, I don't know, $1 million a
yeah,
month US, just to say in revenue,
yeah.
and the judgment is, let's say, for $1 million, you're likely to get that $1 million. If
Yeah,
you
exactly
blast
right.
out the business, now you're dealing with zero revenue, and the property might only be worth, I don't know,
100,000.
500,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, the government's going to take a loss. They're not going to get the amount of money.
no, but yeah, but you can do that for anything, you know.
Right. Sure. I'm just making an example
Yeah,
out of it.
like having an example like that, and yeah, it just if you keep thinking of along, say, okay, commercial property sales, they're into luxury sales. Um, so you could also go like high rises, you know, technological.
Condominiums, especially here in
Yeah,
Miami.
like yeah, you can go restaurants, you can go tech companies that have gone under. Hell, you go down to Silicon Valley, you know, how many tech places are going down there with Microsoft buying everyone out, you know? I know
Yeah,
for a fact that even Blizzard have lost quite a few places, like in France. They're French. They're
who's
French.
that? What company?
Blizzard.
Okay,
Blizzard.
no,
Yeah,
I'm
they're
not familiar with them.
uh they they do the gaming for World of Warcraft and such like. They've just been
Okay,
bought
all
out
right,
by
yeah,
yeah,
okay,
just been bought out by Microsoft. But beforehand, when they were still with Activision,
yes,
yeah,
Activision.
Blizzard Activision, yep. They had
Yeah,
a few they had a few places in Ireland, a few places in France that they had to sell their areas, their property, because they
right,
weren't using it anymore. They're downsizing that area. And yeah, that you can do restaurants, you can do technological companies, you can narrow down. So you can go technological companies, you can go, say, cybersecurity, places that have got
right,
cybersecurity businesses, and they're going under, and you buy them out, or get it, whatever the surface is going to be, But you can narrow it
right,
down further. So you can go cybersecurity for, I don't know, gamers, for gaming companies, for
right,
investment companies. What sort of investment companies? Let's say real estate companies, and you're in a full 3D circle. You're
right,
taken from the right hand, given in the left, and it's coming back to you in two different ways. So you could say, oh yeah, technological properties, go restaurants.
right.
Yeah, that
But also too, like I said, the interlocutory sales,
yeah,
you want it from the buy, you want it to represent from the buyer side. You want to the person who's looking to
yeah,
get
yeah.
into the restaurant business. Not contracting to the
Which,
government because
but for the most part, that's going to be bigger people with business money behind them, isn't it? So that's still B to B.
right, but it's like you said, B2B is easier to extract money
So
from,
if
and
these,
not necessarily. Well, it depends upon if okay, I want to buy a restaurant now. Either I can have people behind me, or I can have the money myself. I mean, if I'm a wealthy individual, I'm going to be able to buy, a restaurant, and it's not going to even put a dent in my pocket. So I don't know yet. I'm getting
Yep.
some great
Oh,
ideas from you. I'm just,
yeah. But on that case too, if you've got that sort of money, you're going to need a corporation to protect your financial side of things.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
no doubt.
it's still a B2B
Right.
because you will be quote unquote a business. You'd still be a solo business, a single business like Caleb, but you can still buy that restaurant under a business. And if there's issues, you've got your coverage because I know I've read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Great book. I love it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. Robert Miyazaki, yes.
yeah, and he says like use um your LCCs as a shield for your personal wealth. You know?
Oh,
Yeah,
I have one. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you know where I'm
I
coming
have
from.
trust LLCs.
Yeah,
My master's degree. I have a master's degree. It's in
yeah,
personal finance. I learned
yeah.
all of those dirty
But
tricks for over
there you
two and a
go.
half
Like
years.
you already know. Then you know all this. You got. You're basically
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
covering your personal wealth with it. So okay, annuity sales. Now
Oh,
I'm
I
gonna
can
need
think
a.
about that. High net worth individuals.
Okay, so annuity sales. What is annuity sales? I'm
Annuity sales basically are insurance contracts basically designed to provide income. Uh, you know, Basically what you, or actually, it's new its whole life. So what you do is you buy the insurance contract. I think you fund it up front with like $2 million or something like that, and then the payout on the back end is literally worth tens or more millions of dollars. And the thing that you're trying to do there is you're trying to generate dynasterial trust. Here in Florida, a family trust, can actually exist for 650 years. Believe it or
nice.
not. Yeah. So, I
That's
mean,
great.
you can pass down money generation to generation to generation, such that if people don't blow it, it could be worth tens of billions of dollars by the time it gets to the final people, 30
Yeah,
generations down the road. If you play your cards right, but you got to
yeah.
have the money and you got to get the right instrument. So then, what industry is the annuities going to be in? Is it going to be in
Now
Bitcoin? Is it going to be
now you're
in
having a think of things, aren't you? Now you're saying, okay, what industries? Where are you going to go? You know, um, to be fair, the service for that would be not actually investing it properly, investing in it yourself, but actually you look, just going off the niche topic for a service, you could probably go like into the sales for that. You go into sales, you can go into um what's that word?
servicing?
Not not
No,
not coaching, it's the business one. Um Consulting. You can
consulting?
go into consulting, That's just
No.
a hypothetical, You can go into the
Yeah, yeah,
consulting of
yeah.
that, yeah. But that's a potential service which is a little bit outside of the thing, but you understand where I'm coming from.
Right.
So
So you can look at a dynasty
yeah, you can go to Dynasty, you
trust,
can go to
dynasty trust.
what other ways can you look at? So you're looking at the different industries, looking for dynasties. What about is there any short term or is that just full long term?
That's really. I mean, if you're looking at dynasty trust, you're looking to pass the
Yeah,
money along from. I mean,
yeah.
you're living
But
now.
are there other certain instead of a dynasty trust, is there shorter term ones or is it
There's
just
charitable. Okay, there's
well there
charitable
you go.
remainder. I mean, there's a whole
Yeah.
load of different
So
life
just
insurance, irrevocable
put
life
another couple
insurance
of
trusts.
examples down. That way you've got an idea of if you drop in another couple of examples, that way you're not um, narrowing your field of view. You know what I mean? Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Yep.
And when I say ILOT is an irrevocable life insurance, and actually that's usually what they use for the dynasty trust is
Mm,
irrevocable life insurance trust, ILLT.
yep.
Because
But
then what you do is you put it in. I don't know if you know what this is an irrevocable trust. Basically, somebody else controls the money.
Mm.
So you
Okay.
have like a trusted friend because if you do that
Thus the
and you
trust.
get
Yep.
sued, you get sued.
It's protected.
There's absolutely no way they can touch you in the judgment.
Yeah.
I'm the one that. So if it's you and me and it's you're the beneficiary and I hold the money and they say we're going to sue you, Gary, for $500 million.
You can go
Uh-uh.
for it. I've got no. I don't have that money.
Yeah, you can go for it, but I
Yeah.
have the money.
Yeah.
I'm the one
Exactly
who
right.
controls what happens to it.
Yeah.
Control everything, but own nothing. That's the
Yes.
thing.
Yeah. I haven't looked into it much in Australia, but then again, eventually I'm not going to be living in Australia. So,
Where do you want to live eventually?
well, going off the five flags that Caleb's playing with, sounds like they're going to be starting in Uruguay soon, which will probably be more my style. But I also want to be able to have somewhere where I can have snow for Christmas. So Armenia is going to be the next one.
I visited Uruguay when I was a federal agent. Great country.
Yeah,
Great country. Yeah, I was in love with it 15 years ago. I'm even more in love with it today.
yeah. For
Just a
me
great place.
personally, I've only gone international to Bali.
Bali, Indonesia, very nice. Yeah.
Well, it's only a 3 hour flight from Perth, which is where
Yeah,
I
for
live.
you, it's great.
Yeah. Being the most isolated city in the world doesn't help.
Yeah.
But yeah. But you can see where we're coming from with the niche ideas now. Okay, so doctoral chair work, what's that?
It's basically consultancy to people. Look, I've actually chaired dissertations. I mean, I've signed off on people's dissertations.
Yep.
Um, what I'm looking at, for example, would be, let's say, doctoral chair. Well, actually, probably doctoral consultation work. That's better
Yeah.
because you're a chair. You work for a
But
university,
but for that at this moment in time, consultation work would be a service, not a niche.
right?
So
Okay.
doctoral chairs,
Okay, doctor.
okay, yeah. So
For, let's say,
what
only
in
for doctors of education.
okay, what sort of is that a
Well,
general
only for
or is
that
that
degree,
yeah,
because the
okay.
difference between a PhD and an EDD is that an EDD usually is a capstone project, as compared to a PhD, which is a thoroughly researched dissertation. So when you get an EDD, you have to prepare to actually do a project at the end. What's really funny is I have an EDD, but I wrote an original dissertation. My degree should actually be a PhD because I published original research, but that technical matter.
Semantics.
But yeah, semantics, I guess. An EDD, let's say specifically designed for elementary school teachers.
There you go.
Well, let's say first capstone project,
Yeah,
and then let's say high school teachers. I'm better with high school teachers.
yep. But then again, you can also into a particular line of study for that too, because I know that like my geology teacher never taught biology. You know what I mean? He did a general science for high school, but he didn't do the biology as a specialization. He specialized in geology.
Not here in
Yeah.
Florida, you can't. You got to have the degree in it. They used to allow it. Actually, what you could do is you could teach for a limited number of years, like maybe 1 or 2 years, but you had to get your degree in the field within a certain
But then
amount of
again,
time.
that's also a narrow down that I'm trying to get at.
Right.
You
High
know?
school specific subject. So
Yeah. There you go. Now you've got a line there of borrowing that you can use for say any other subject. So
right,
calculus and mathematics for high school, or geometry and trigonometry,
right,
or even the arts, even music. What style of music? Oh, you can go concerto, you can go strings, and then woodwind. We had a music program at my high school when I was out there. Like that, we had a full, I wouldn't say a full orchestra, but we had quite a lot of the orchestral members. But you got the idea. You got that. Now,
I am starting to get the idea. And as a matter of fact, I'm tremendously like I boxed myself in until I'm glad I met with you today, because now I'm starting to see I actually have more skills than I gave myself credit for.
and that's
Um,
usually the way. I
yeah,
100% understand, because like I'm the same. I'm the same.
yeah,
I don't think I have as many skills as I thought I have, and here I am. Look, I love teaching and training people. As a shot firer,
yeah.
teaching
Well, so
people,
do I. I mean,
yeah.
it's
Oh,
it's
you,
great.
you,
I've done it. I mean,
yeah, you've done it professionally for considerably longer than I have, and here I am just
yeah.
teaching numpties on how not to blow themselves up.
Well, it must be fun. I mean, I've
Yeah.
never looked into it. We have a branch of federal government called Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. They're the guys who blow things up. So when I was at the academy that many years ago, it'd be about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you see a car go flying up in the air.
Love
They're
it.
playing with bombs again.
Yes.
And ATF agents were like doing shots in the hole, man, just blowing stuff up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was important because they had to learn. You see,
Yes.
they're doing it from a criminal standpoint, like arson and stuff like that. But it
Mm.
was kind of funny.
Look, even some of the stuff that I've seen, done, and heard in this industry, especially when I first started in the early 2000s, is
Wow.
let's just say they'll make a good book one day.
Write it, do it,
Oh,
write it. If I could
I
write a
will
book
eventually.
of
I'll
my
eventually do that.
experiences as federal agents, I
Yeah,
have stories to tell that they'd have to kill me
yeah.
for.
Was it? I have a friend of mine. Like, while we're on the shot together, we hate each other's guts. We cannot work together. We're just that strong personality that we've. Like, I've been doing it 20 years. He's been doing it about 5. But he's very switched on, very intelligent, and he's a very genuine guy. That's why I have him as a friend. I can't work with the
You can
bastard.
drink with them, yeah.
Oh, easy, easy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I actually spoke to him like over text message tonight. He's recently just had a hernia on his diaphragm.
Oof. I had
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Painful to repair. Yeah.
I got a photo of him in the hospital bed. I said, you feeling a bit better? You recovering better?" He says, "Yeah, I'm not in as much pain now." I said, "Yeah, I'm glad to hear that." But the thing is that we can't handle each other on the shot. But I'd have him at my back any day, and I've
That's
lost my
good.
train of thought.
Well, I mean, look,
But
I mean,
like, that's right, book. Um,
book, yes, write the
yes,
book.
yes, because when we were working together, like Aussies were always taking the Mickey out of each other, and like I'd start going on a tirade of, oh yeah, back in those days, this is what's happened. Right, I start telling a story because that's how I taught. Learn from the stories. Don't do what's in the stories. Just learn from them. And he goes, Memoirs of a Shot Fire, Chapter 72. And I said, watch yourself. I'm going to write that one day. And I'm going to just blast the hell out of him because he was a less experienced shot firer. He says, oh, yeah, I'm a production shot firer. Oh, yeah? What's a production shot firer do, JJ? I just load holes. I said, that sounds like a senior shot crew. And he says,
It's amazing how you can embellish things.
oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, he was
Oh, yeah.
embellishing to the nth degree. So I made about 20 different memes about production shot firers. He doesn't talk about being a production shot fire anymore.
Yeah. Well,
But
it's
like, that's where it is, Um,
I've learned so much today, Gary.
I'm glad.
I cut myself short. I mean, I'm already seeing I might stick with kind of my original plan for a second, but I'm already looking because remember, Caleb says you need more than one stream. You should
Yeah,
have multiple streams.
yeah.
And
And
this
as I
gives me some ideas
yeah,
here.
And what I
Particularly,
suggest, as with
yeah, go ahead.
what I suggested earlier in the clip, is that keep keep the one that you're onto. You know, that's a good niche, the one that you already have in mind. But what
But you
we'll
see
do
the
is
asset
just
forfeiture?
put it as a secondary business when you can actually have the time, the money to actually put into it wholeheartedly. You know, you're not worrying about having that mortgage paid. You're not worrying about your repayments on your car. You
Yeah.
know,
Your mouth
do
to God's ears.
you know?
No, I
Do
mean, look,
I'm just saying, don't forget it. Just put it. Just slightly delay when you start your federal one. Look at something that's a little bit easier to run, a little bit easier to get into to start with. You know, like,
okay,
yeah, I 100% agree with your highlighted one at the moment, but we can keep on keeping on. So,
right.
okay, criminal civil litigation work as a private investigator. We're looking for location independent businesses.
Yeah, I thought about that. I'm gonna, no, don't worry, I'm gonna take that out.
Um,
So,
you didn't have to take it out. There could be ways to niche that down to a point where it can work. We just need to brainstorm about it.
they
Um,
would have to, I mean, they would have to be, okay, well, first of all, here's the problem. Okay. It would have to be, for example, because the law here in Florida is the case has to originate in Florida. I can't do consulting work for a private, like, let's say in
well, there's a
Colorado.
niche already, isn't it? The location.
Um, could be a
That's
particular type of crime.
yeah.
Could be a
Okay,
particular type of crime. It could be
that's
violent. It could be
exactly
drug,
right. Now you're right onto it now. You're swinging with it now. Yeah,
drug
drug
offenses.
offenses. Now it could be opiates. It could be THC. You know,
Right.
then you can go, what sort of drugs? What size of drugs? Drug quantities? You know, you're already getting this. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
you're yeah. So now it's just let's go down through the rest of them, do some prompts, and see what else we can do. Start up swing trading. Um,
Well, these are niches I've heard of. So
once again, it can go in conjunction with the stock one that you had previously.
now I know this is not
Um,
what you call,
don't
but this
don't
is
delete
something
that
that's
one.
always been a thing for
Yeah.
me.
Well,
This is
hell,
always something.
yeah.
Maybe
We,
coordinating travel.
yeah. We have a colleague in the business builder. He's on the business builder side of things. He does um, he does copywriting for Peruvian touring companies.
Now, when you say copywriting, what do you mean by that?
He
Because
does
copyright,
writing for the company. You
okay,
know, like
because copyright, when you say copyright here in the United States, we're talking about licensing rights to a
yes,
work. So, for example,
yeah,
my dissertation is
and
copyrighted. People can't use it without my permission. That's
trust
what
me,
we
I
win.
I I asked that question when I first heard it as well.
Yeah,
Because
I know that
that was my initial impression is that it's licensing for what you're writing down, what you're trying to protect.
right.
You know,
Protection. Yeah, legal
yeah,
protection. Yeah.
yeah. But when they say copywriting in the context of the business builder, it's basically the words that you write on your website for clients, so on and so forth.
Right.
Um, anyway, George into the jungle. He's one of our colleagues. Yes, yeah, George
Yeah, George,
Averas.
that's great.
Look, like when he told us the name of his company, I laughed my ass off. Billy, everyone laughed at it, and I said, "Yes, that is the name of your company. There is nothing else that could work." Because he loves traveling South America. He's
Right.
got one client already. He's just signed up a second client. He's about to graduate this program.
That's great.
It is. It's awesome. Like him and I have had like WhatsApp conversations for hours just talking shit. You know, he's English, but he loves South America, you know, and he says, look, I only need 3 clients at $1,000 a month, and I'll be living like a king out here. See, for me,
That's the
my
key.
mm, for me personally, my personal goal is for $20,000 a month. That's where I want to be. That's my first step, you know,
Right.
with
You
with
would
my
you
with
would
my
be you would live like in Latin America. You would
oh
live
yeah,
like royalty. You
oh
know,
yeah.
like I have friends of mine that are
I want
retired
full freedom,
genius.
mate. I want
They live
full
on
freedom.
1,500 a month.
Yeah, I want full freedom.
Everything. Yeah, everything. I
I
see.
want to.
Here's my problem. I can't leave. If it was me alone, I would consider moving overseas. I'm
Yeah.
married. I have children here, and I have a father-in-law who's 84 years old. I
Mm.
just can't pick up and leave tomorrow. If one day I would have out survived my wife, God forbid, if my father-in-law, when my father-in-law passes on, me, you'd see me in Dubai, you'd see me in Uruguay, you'd say, yeah,
But the thing is that you can always have a backup plan. You may not be
that's
able
what
to
I'm
move.
looking. That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. I'm looking for the backup plan,
For
really.
the international backup plan. Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
yeah,
which is
that's what I'm
something
looking
that
for.
Caleb can supply as well. Like just go, like I heard one of the latest podcasts with Caleb. He had Billy on as a Q&A and just going through the stuff that they want to do this year. It made me want to cry because I don't have the money to be with them, to join them. And it's like
I know.
it just lit a fire up under my ass even more so just to get this moving. Anyway,
Yeah,
back onto George into the jungle with the extreme travel. You know, he does the travel writing. You know, once again, you could do something similar in a different area, but like extreme travel, mountaineering, you can go to
I
location.
wanted
Which
I wanted to
location?
climb. I wanted to
Everest.
climb Everest. I can't do it medically. I can't do it because I suffered a stroke that many years ago, and for me, even as a matter of fact, 17,000 feet, like base camp, might be fatal for me. So
Rightio.
yeah,
Well,
I can't
you
do
can
that.
you could
I
probably
wanted to do it.
you could probably there's a few places like even in America, South America, even Europe, which have mountains that aren't so high that you can still get out the mountaineering gear, you know?
Yeah, I
Anyway,
again,
anyway,
that'll all
but
be
then
up to my
again,
God. That'll be up to my God.
yeah, that comes
But
back
I am
that
familiar with Rob Hall.
yeah.
I followed his story back in Everest in '96. That's where my whole thing, fascination with
Mm,
mountaineering, came up was Into Thin Air by John Krakauer.
yeah.
I found
Yeah.
it to be a great book and Rob's Hall story to be very compelling. So,
Yeah. Okay.
um,
So while we're on
yeah,
the subject, the extreme travel and mountaineering, how can we narrow that down?
let's see. Some travel mountaineering.
We've already spoke about a couple
Let's
of
say eight. Let's say 8,000 meter peaks.
Yep. Well, that's not a specialization I was thinking of, but that's a great idea, you know?
14. It's the 14 big ones. 8,000 meter peaks. Um, you know,
Geography.
well, Nepal specifically, because I think that's mostly where most of them are. K2 is in Pakistan. Nepal is that.
What about the
Abu
Jura
Dhabi.
Mountains in Europe, the
I
Swiss
don't think there
Alps?
are any 8,000. I don't think there are any 8,000s in Europe at all. I think they're
Oh, okay.
almost all in the India, China, Nepal, Tibet region. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. But we're just talking about different niche narrowing down. So you could go the 8,000 meters. You can go um, mountains that are a little less. We've got Kosciuszko here in Australia. You
Mhm.
know, we have, as I said, the Jura Mountain Band in Europe. You have was it the Alpecin Mountains in South America? I
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, you
There's
have to
also
go.
something
You,
there's also something called the Seven Summits, which is the highest point on each continent. That's
yeah,
the other what they call holy grail of mountaineering is the
yeah.
Seven Summits.
Well, there's another niche right there.
Right,
You can see where it's coming from. It
right,
doesn't have to be Nepalese or that
right.
particular mountain range. It could be any mountain range in the world.
And then uh, travel travel
Hey,
logistics.
travel logistics, yeah. Especially since Caleb and Auntie Billy are planning an Antarctic trip.
Another one of my dreams, the South Pole. Another one of my dreams.
Now, the
Um,
thing is,
I
if
probably would be able to do that. That I could probably do because it's only 10,000 feet above sea level. I can, I
yeah,
can, I could probably manage that. So
the thing
travel
is,
logistics.
um, what I'll do is while you keep going that, I'll actually try and uh, I'll look for the um, to, I'll look
Go big or go home. Just go take
where's
a look at the
YouTube?
South Pole.
I'll find the video that had Billy on it. So we have
You're gonna share it now. You're gonna send it to me.
Unchained CEO. Oh, there we go. Where are we? Oh, yep, there we go. It was 7 days ago. I'll just get the link for the video that um had Billy on it. So I'll just paste that into the ping. That's
Okay,
on it.
great. Yep, just got it. Yep, great.
Yeah. Long-term safe country. Hey, look at that. Perfect segue. Look at that. We're talking
Long-term
about
safety.
moving different countries. There we go.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that was a couple of was that a couple of weeks or just yesterday?
That was a week ago. A week
That was a
ago, that
week ago.
video.
Yeah, because I follow him on YouTube. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
same.
got him.
Yeah.
I'm subscribed. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. High-end real estate, that can work in with the everything else that we've already spoken about.
Okay.
Um, startup day swing trading, that can also go with the stock stuff you've already
Yeah.
spoken about. Concierge work to individuals. So is that a recruitment style?
Well, concierge work basically to celebrities. Uh, almost forgot here. Um, music only.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
Well, there
son's
you go.
involved in that.
And then you can
And
actually narrow down to the genre as well.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Look, that's awesome. And then what sort of like there's probably different occupations within the concierge work for the work itself too, like stagehands and
Well, no,
maybe
no.
just
Concierge work is a personal assistant. I mean,
oh
basically,
yeah,
they're the
okay,
ones who are like for example, they're the ones arranging a private shopping trip at the
yeah,
Rolex store in London. They're the ones
yep,
who are
yep,
making the
oh
hotel
yep,
arrangements at the Four
yep,
Seasons.
okay.
You're basically your right hand person.
Yeah,
Mailer, they're your right
so
hand person.
yeah, see, like that'd be more personal assistance.
Right.
Uh, that is just the wording for me that um got me a little
But you
confused.
could pair people. You could pair people up for that. You can kind of okay.
Train,
Well, I'm gonna what you call. I'm gonna evaluate you and see
yeah.
if you're a good fit.
So
Because
basically, you could vet them for the clients.
right,
So
well,
hypothetically, it's B to B because you'll be vetting them for the client, which is a business.
right,
Because let's face it, that's what bands are, a business.
right.
So high-end watch repair.
Oh, I got into these videos recently
Oh,
about people
look,
repairing.
that's a great hobby.
Yeah,
if that's what you're into. Um,
it's interesting.
but then
I
again,
watch.
you can narrow that down into say pocket watches and
Okay,
antiques. You know, getting antiques like it's like the classic cars. You know, putting them back to what they were like. You know, you can have the old antique pocket watches, bring in the
right,
restorations,
gotcha.
antiques and restorations. You know, you can see where we're coming from now, and then you could have like your standard watches, like you can even go high end with like Rolexes and Timex and whatever else that they do. I don't personally use a watch, but you can see where we're coming from.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
So I like the idea of the antique restorations myself. That sounds like fun.
Essentially, a niche. I was doing a niche scan, and I saw. So this was one of the things I saw a service van driving by me, and it was saying it offers IT services solely for dentists in private practice.
Yeah.
Really?
Now, what else can you do? So,
Yeah,
like, that's a good scan, dude. There's just something that you weren't
yeah,
really. It just
yeah. I
popped
just
into
happened
you.
to be
It just
by,
happened, and that's a
and
great thing.
I also happen to know somebody
Mm.
through a friend, through my son. They are an attorney dealing as a sports agent solely for NBA players. They don't represent in any other sport. They represent
Yeah,
specifically NBA players. They will
yeah,
not touch anybody other than NBA players.
yeah. Because they specialize. They
And I
niche.
think what they do is I also think they do only NIL work, name, image, and likeness. So they don't even negotiate the contracts. They negotiate the other, like like Nike, like
The
endorsement deals.
sponsorships, the
Yeah, sponsors
sponsorships,
stuff
like we
like
did with
that.
the
Yeah.
Olympians earlier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So look,
He makes good money.
yeah, yeah. So offering IT services that could be for anything. Honestly,
Yeah.
even then, that is way too broad. What sort of
Right.
services? You know, you could
Well, I mean,
probably
I'm just going to fill in some blanks here. It
yeah,
could
yeah.
be servers only, not
Service,
the last.
networking, yep,
So
networking,
servers,
server
network.
networking, yep. You can do organizational. There's organizational IT work as well.
Are you talking about aside from dentists?
No, no, for dentists,
Well, when you say organizational, what do you mean by?
as in the back room stuff. You know, the
Hmm,
dentists they do the actual orthodonty, but they've also need to make sure all their pays are in, all their um, all their uh, patients are organized. You know, all that back end stuff
right,
that needs an IT specialist as well because it's not just all
right.
networking back there. It's time management. It can be
Would
alarms.
that more be? Oh, well, that could be.
Yeah,
So
like, you can see where I'm trying to get at.
yeah, I think what this guy does is he basically does the hardware, not
Yeah,
the software. So
there you go.
he does the
Hardware,
servers,
software.
the cabling, and all this other stuff.
Yeah, but
Um,
you
yeah,
can see where the niche can be narrowed down.
right.
You
Yep,
know.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Um, that's niche brainstorm. Applying for a law enforcement job. Applying for federal law enforcement. Uh, in the background investigation. That first one. Okay, that's been borrowed down pretty good. Is there any other way you can narrow that down, like in the style of criminal? What sort of criminal investigations can you specialize, or is it just whatever the file that you're given?
It depends upon the agency, but they've become more consistent now. So
Yeah.
now, like for example, my former agency at one time didn't require a polygraph. I think they are going to be requiring a polygraph soon. So basically, the hiring process is going to be consistent across
The board.
the whole, whether or not you become an FBI agent, an HSI agent, a Secret Service agent, or whatever.
Yep.
I think there's pretty much going to
Is
be the
there
same.
is
I
there a
wish I
way
could tell you how to pass a polygraph, but I can't. It
yeah,
probably would be the paper. It'd probably be the paperwork more than
yep.
anything else.
So okay. Um yeah, paperwork. Um yeah, I'm just trying to think of ways to branch into different um criminal activities because as we've spoken about before with the drugs, could be have gang violence or you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if the agencies specialize
And I'm sorry, and what specifically?
in a criminal activity. So you
Oh
said you
yeah,
got
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Well,
Secret
there you
Service
go.
is
Yeah,
protecting the president. I mean,
yeah.
FBI, big thing
Federal
now is terrorism, but ATF is largely explosives and firearms.
yeah.
So
So
that's their
you could see
particular
yeah, so you can actually
their
narrow
particular authority.
down even further when it comes to certain criminal activities.
And by the way, so I don't mean to be rude. I got a hard stop at 11:30 because I have so about another 10 minutes.
Oh, yep, no, that's cool. That's fine. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's 12 hours difference. Yeah, but to be fair, you've got the process down now.
Yeah.
You know, you're like
Yep. And
you're seeing
yep.
you're seeing more.
Just this alone has been this first portion has been huge, huge. Gives me a lot of different branch points. I have, an ability now to see what might work, what might not work, but what's different than what I'm all, what I'm
Yeah,
considering now.
you
So
can never be
this
too
is great.
narrow. You can never be too
Correct.
narrow.
Right. I got
So
it.
what we might do is we might just go here, pull it up here. Then you've got, dude, awesome job, man. Awesome
No,
job.
thank you. You kind of prodded me along. So, I'm always learning. I'm always learning. You know, I hate to say education's overrated, but it is. There's book knowledge, and then there's
Education is
practical knowledge.
overrated. Learning is not.
Learning is not. Excellent point. Yeah, yeah. So, I'm very appreciative for your time today.
No, it's all
I'll
good.
follow up
This
with this.
this whole thing is what I love seeing.
Yeah, and it's great.
I love seeing people have that aha moment and
Aha,
then
aha moment. Yes,
run with it. Like
great.
um, as I said, I had Chad last night do the same thing,
Right.
and I was excited for him. Some of the
Good.
stuff that he had, it was like, yes, I like that, and like even the mountaineering, like the even just the repos when it comes to the real estate with the restaurant that we had an example, that
Right.
is interesting. And this is what I do it for. I like expanding my mind. I like expanding my knowledge base. Like, hell, you learned about chiropractic today.
Yeah, I didn't know what
Yeah.
Myra. I was like, huh? I mean, I knew
And
what acupuncture was and stuff like that, but I didn't
yeah.
realize it was a whole other form of body
Oh,
of medical work.
the neuropaths, the neuropathic pathways for health
Yeah, yeah,
maintenance is
right.
huge.
Yeah. So
So what I'll do is I'll end because it's all recorded. I'll send you a copy of the video.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. What I suggest is put it up on the boards. Post it
Okay.
up. Post the video on the boards. That way, if if people want to click and have a look, and they'll see the process that we went through, that
Right.
might help them as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you very, very much.
My
We'll be in
pleasure.
touch as it goes on. Have a great rest of the evening. Go to bed. Have a good night.
Yeah, I'm half an hour away from tomorrow.
Till tomorrow. All right.
No
Be
dramas.
well.
Have a
Thanks,
good
sir.
night, Chris. Catch ya.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.